Hello and welcome to the evening news for today, Tuesday, October 21, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, Glenn Lal's file on threatening allegations back with police. Burkett says no plans to halt remigrant scheme. PPPC in talks with APNU. Speaker cannot set date for reconvening of Parliament. And the AFC forced to call off special Congress. Now for the news in detail. We start off by telling you that the Guyana Police Force has been advised by the Director of Public Prosecutions on how to proceed with the accusations of threatening language made against the Commissioner General of the Guyana Revenue Authority. The details in this report.
DPP's communication consultant Liz Rahaman today confirmed that the DPP has received a file from the police with respect to threats made to GRA boss Khurshid Sattar by Glenn Lal. While Rahaman said that the file was already sent back to the police with the requisite advice, she did not say what the advice was. According to the Customs Act, Lal could spend up to 3 years in prison for attempting to impede Sattar from the discharge of his mandate and issuing threats to him via the telephone a few short months ago. Sattar had made a complaint to the Brigdam police station months ago when the incident occurred. Ever since the report was filed, the police have moved at snail's pace with investigations into the allegations. Further, the Commissioner General conveyed astonishment at reaction the issue garnered from civil society and the fact that the usually opinionated non-governmental organizations are silent.
Amid calls for a complete halt or suspension of the remigrant scheme, Foreign Affairs Minister Carleen Rodrigues Burkett says there is no need to do so. Here's why in this report.
There are no plans to halt the remigrant program in the face of charges being laid against Skytour News publisher Glenn Lal, his wife Bina Lal, and two remigrant couples Narutan Dio and Garbasi Brijnanan for allegedly abusing the scheme, thereby committing tax fraud. This is according to Foreign Affairs Minister Carleen Rodrigues Burkett, who said that it would be premature to do so in the absence of compelling evidence to suggest that the scheme is being massively abused. She said the ministry is yet to receive the results from the probe from the Auditor General, pointing out that if there were any alterations to be made to the carrying out of the probe, the results of the audit would be instructive. She said too that she is not aware if the audit is completed. But Guyana Times on October 1 reported that the Office of the Auditor General has completed 2 reports on alleged scams in the government-run remigrant scheme involving senior GRA officials and some remigrants. Auditor General Deodat Sharma had disclosed that the 2 reports have been submitted to the Guyana Revenue Authority Board. He noted one was completed about a month ago and others was recently handed over to the board. Royden James reporting for the Evening News.
After months of tension and conflict on several issues, we now hear that the People's Progressive Party Civic and a Partnership for National Unity are in talks.
As tensions continue to grow in Guyana's political sphere, the two main parties, the Partnership for National Unity and the People's Progressive Party Civic, met on Monday to discuss several topical issues. According to a release from the APNU, the two parties met with the aim of advancing the national governance agenda. The PPPC team, led by President Donald Ramotar, comprised parliamentarians Dr. Ashni Singh, Irfan Ali, Gail Teixeira, and Cabinet Secretary Dr. Roger Lenchen. APNU's team was led by David Granger and included parliamentarians Dr. Rupert Roopnarine, Basil Williams, Carl Greenidge, and Joseph Harmon. The meeting did not include any representative of the minority opposition party, the Alliance for Change. This signals a slap in the face of the AFC, who has been in a cozy relationship with the APNU over the past few months. The meeting comes in spite of the fact that the party has tabled a no-confidence motion against government.
As the investigation into the death of Dr. Walter Rodney continued today, wife of the slain historian Dr. Patricia Rodney gave evidence suggesting that the Rodney family, upon its return to Guyana in May 1974, was under extensive surveillance by the state's security force. More from Alexis Rodney.
Dr. Rodney's testimony today corroborated evidence given by earlier witnesses who testified that they were constantly harassed and beaten up by agents of the state, including the Guyana Police Force, the Guyana Defense Force, and occasionally the religious cult group House of Israel. It also spoke to the Commission's Terms of Reference number 4, which seeks to examine the role of the security forces, if any, in the surveillance of opposition political parties during that period. Dr. Rodney, under cross-examination by Trinidadian attorney Keith Scotland, told the 3-member commission that her home had been subjected to constant searches by police officers dressed in ordinary clothes.
It could be once a week, it could be sometimes twice a week. it was continuous. I mean, we didn't know when to expect it, but it continued.
I need to take this in installments. When I say your home, and I'm reading from the handbook, I mean at 186 South Rumville Gardens, Georgetown.
Yes.
So you were saying that between 1978, January 1978, and June 1980, twice a week over that period, on an average, your house will be searched?
No, I think the searching increased. At first it was incremental. It increased 1997 to 9 was when the searches got intensive.
So it will be from 1979 that you would average that your house will be searched twice a week.
Yes.
But the surveillance, she continued, did not begin in Guyana. In fact, while the family was living in England, Guyana's government had set up surveillance there as well. That was also coupled with the scrutiny of the M15. Dr. Rodney said that the homes of her relatives and friends were also frequented by the police. Many persons locally were threatened with their jobs if they continued relationships with the Rodney family, while foreigners were threatened with deportation. Asked if she or her husband had ever made an attempt to report their security concerns with the authority, Dr. Rodney explained that they never thought it would serve any purpose, as they were of the view that the state machinery was against the historian and his family. The Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry was established to probe the circumstances surrounding the death of Dr. Walter Anthony Rodney, who was killed on June 30, 1980. Public belief is that the PNC government of that time was responsible for the death of the WPA co-founder and was using state apparatus to carry out attacks on any force that defied its dictatorial policies. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
And as the Alliance for Change continues to mount pressure for an early sitting of the National Assembly, Clerk of the National Assembly, Sherlock Isaac, says that the Speaker does not have the authority to name a date for elections. Details in this report.
Isaacs, in a release to the media, said he was asked by the Speaker whether the Speaker's office has the authority to name a date for the reconvening of Parliament, and he responded in the negative. Isaacs explained that the Speaker can only fix a date for a sitting when the Assembly is adjourned to a specified date, which is as obtained in Standing Order Number 8. Isaacs further explained that in the Parliament of Guyana, there are two presidents, one involving Frank A. Noreen, former clerk of the National Assembly, and the other involving Elwin Viapre, former clerk of the legislature. A Partnership for National Unity leader David Granger had said the issue regarding the setting of a date for the resumption of the next sitting of Parliament is out of the hands of the opposition. The AFC had earlier this week made a public call to Speaker Trothman, government and APNU for some mechanism to be worked out so that Parliament, whose recess had expired on October 10, could be resumed. Granger, in response, said while his party is looking forward to a date being announced, the opposition lacks any power in this regard.
The National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, the NDIA, has completed repairs to the Peters Hall Coker that broke in early October, causing massive flooding in that community and nearby Providence on the east bank of Demerara. 2 Wednesdays ago, the Coker at Peters Hall caved in, leaving residents in the area in a state of shock and disbelief as millions of dollars in household appliances and livestock were destroyed by the floodings that followed. When the Evening News visited the area on Monday, contractors were carrying out maintenance works. They told media operatives that the coker was completed but for the installation of the door. While residents are satisfied with the work that is being done, they are still concerned about their losses and compensation. Early last week, Local Government Minister Norman Whitaker held a meeting in the area to discuss residents' losses and to see what support could be given by the ministry. More news still ahead. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy says that there is a need for more money to be pumped into the agricultural research given its importance to humanity. More in this report.
Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy said that government and stakeholders need to see research in the agriculture sector as a priority and invest in that respect. He contended that for every dollar invested in agriculture research on a global scale, 7,000 was invested in research in other areas.
In many ways, agricultural research is an orphan in the research world. We have not invested enough in agriculture globally. It's our collective failure. This conference that Guyana is initiating is intended to advocate for more research in Guyana, in the Caribbean, but globally.
Dr. Ramsamy contended that the failure of the governments of the world to suitably invest in the agriculture sector is a collective failure, noting that the research conference intended to advocate for more research in Guyana, Caribbean, and globally.
And yet, without agriculture, there is no world. There is no other way of feeding people. There is no other way of establishing the basis for nutritious food in the world, but through agriculture. There is no life without agriculture.
It was further noted that there are several other pertinent questions that need to be answered and can only be answered adequately by the way of research.
Meanwhile, Guyana's Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy today said that any fall-through with the Petro-Carib agreement will not severely affect the country's economy.
While there continues to be reports and speculation about a possible pull-out of the Petro-Carib deal by Venezuela, Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy says that Guyana will not severely affected. He pointed out that this is so because Guyana is not solely dependent on the deal between Venezuela and CARICOM.
Guyana does not have an absolute dependency on Petro-Carib. Petro-Carib has been a good thing for Guyana, but Guyana's economic system is not dependent on Petro-Carib. And so my belief is that Guyana will not be severely affected if Petro-Carib was to come to an end. But that in no way means that Petro-Carib has not been good for us. In fact, Petro-Carib has been very good to us.
However, he maintained that the deal has been good and produced remarkable advantages for its beneficiaries.
I hope Petro-Carib has a long life. But having said that, it's only because it's a good thing for the region.
Prediction that Petro-Carib will be discontinued by the Venezuelan government in the near future. It comes from Anthony Brand, who said that the program has become too costly for a country reeling from political instability and economic challenges. In an interview with the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, Brand explained that Venezuela was in serious trouble. According to the article, the country was essentially allowing 1/3 of its total crude production to be sold at discounted rates in Petro-Carib and assistant to Nicaragua and Cuba.
The Alliance for Change has postponed its highly anticipated biennial Congress to a later date, citing the non-passage of a no-confidence motion. More in this report.
AFC's General Secretary David Patterson says that if the no-confidence motion is not passed, his party will be unable to hold a special Congress. According to the party's constitution, if there is an impending general election, the party needs to have a special Congress. At that Congress, the party's members will elect its presidential and prime ministerial candidates. He said that since no date has been set for the reconvening of Parliament and the no-confidence motion has not been passed, the party cannot move ahead with its plan to host the special Congress. On Monday, the party had announced that it had deferred its national conference, which was slated for this weekend due to the stalling of its no-confidence motion against government. In a statement, the AFC said, as was mentioned, it was anticipated that the no-confidence motion will have commenced being debated either this week or at the latest next week. According to the party, several of the items on the agenda at the scheduled national conference were linked to a successful passage of the no-confidence vote. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
In the courts, 24-year-old Mark Puran was today remanded after being charged with the possession of narcotics. The man appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Courts before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari. It is alleged that on October 18 at Kroll Street, he had in his possession 21 grams of cannabis for the purpose of trafficking. The unrepresented security guard pleaded not guilty to the charge. He stated it was 8.5 grams and not 31. The matter was transferred to Court 5 and Magistrate Fobair Zor, who scheduled this matter to be heard again on November 13. Guyana's first recipe book featuring a collection of exquisite and mouth-watering recipes was today launched at the International Conference Center. Let's take a look.
As part of the Eat What You Produce campaign by the ministry, a recipe book was launched on Tuesday. Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy said the book was testament to government's strong advocacy of ensuring that the Eat What You Produce campaign is successful.
These recipes are designed so that we could use as much of those things that we grow and produce in Guyana, and reduces the dependency on things we import. We do recognize that there are some things we import that we have to live with.
He said that the publication would soon be an annual and expand to include more recipes.
We can go into communities and pick up people's favorite recipe, our grandmother's recipe, some special recipes from the remotest areas of Guyana, and include it in our recipe book in the future. So this will be an annual edition from now on. This year we launch it in commemoration of the Eat What We Grow, Eat What We Produce.
The Eat What You Produce initiative is a project that encourages persons to get back into their kitchen gardens and grow their own food or buy local food instead of depending on imported foods. Ramsamy said Guyana should take the Eat What We Grow campaign to a new level and urged that Guyanese show that brand Guyana is cherished and valued.
This one is intended to demonstrate that we do produce safe, high-quality products in Guyana, and that we should therefore develop a preference for brand Guyana. We're talking about brand Guyana and moving away from the old style so that people must be proud of what they produce. And people must be proud to say, this is produced in my community, in my country.
Back in the courts, 48-year-old Martin Salvagori was today remanded after being charged with murder. The logger appeared before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari at the Georgetown Magistrates Courts. It is alleged that on Thursday, October 16, at Napi Village in central Rupununi, he murdered William James, to which he was not required to plead, since it is a capital offence. The details of the allegation were not revealed in court. The accused was unrepresented and the case was transferred to the Lethem Magistrates Court for December 1. Stay tuned, more news ahead. This is Evening News. Welcome back. Thieves early on Sunday morning escaped with an undisclosed sum of cash and jewelry after invading a home at Prospect on the east bank of Demerara. Elizabeth Fitgau of 12 Prospect told this newscast that 3 men forced their way through a window of her house. They then tied her up and ransacked the house. She related that the incident occurred at around 3 hours. At the time, Fitgau's son, his child mother and 4 children were in the house, but no one heard anything. The men escaped with an undisclosed amount of cash and quantity of gold jewelry, including 3 chain nuggets, a diamond ring worth $130,000, a silver ring with a diamond, 3 silver bands and 3 gold chains. They also took away a number of colognes on their way out. The Lions Club of Guyana's Stabroek branch is celebrating 12 years of making a huge impact on the lives of Guyanese. Let's find out more in this report.
The Lions Club Association of Guyana Georgetown Stabroek branch will mark their 12th anniversary on October 24th with a week of activities leading up to the grand event, which is a brunch to be held at the OMG restaurant on Saturday.
12 years as a club it means a lot to us. Because if we look back down memory lane, you will know that how you started, you're not really right there. You have moved to the next level. So as members of the Georgetown Starbrook Lions Club, this time around now really mean a lot.
Throughout its 12 years, the members have executed significant projects aimed at bettering the lives of Guyanese. During the course of this week, the Lions Club will embark on activities to announce their anniversary. So far, they have completed a book drive where they distributed 100 books to the St. Stanislaus College and the St. Rose's High School. They also donated $5,000 to the St. George's Cathedral to purchase a new PA system for the church. Other activities before the brunch include distribution of clothing at various homes and a breakfast session for street children. Royden James, reporting for the Evening News.
The National Drama Festival, which got underway earlier this month, is making major strides with the final set for next Monday.
Director of the National Drama Festival, Colette Jones-Chin, says that thus far the response from the public has been fair, but it is not what she was expecting. She further explained that since there are a number of schools in this year's competition, she was expecting more school students to show their support. When asked about how this year's competition stands out from previous years, Chin said that this is a new year with new challenges, but one thing she is sure of is that last year's challenges did not roll over to this year. She said too that she is hoping that as soon as this year's festival is over, work can begin to get groups ready for next year. This, she said, is her primary focus. 28 groups are participating in this year's festival. The closing ceremony is scheduled for Monday with performances from the Annandale Secondary and the Berbice High School. Also, the prize-giving ceremony is expected to be held between October 31st and November 2. Royden James, reporting for Evening News.
On Saturday last, Republic Bank Guyana Limited launched its new branch in the Edward Village on the west coast of Berbice. Let's take a look.
Republic Bank Guyana Limited on Saturday last launched its new branch in the Edwards Village, West Coast, Berbice. Delivering the feature address was the Director and Executive Director of Republic Bank Trinidad and Tobago, Darwin Howell, who said the aim for opening the new branch is to strengthen the relationship with customers in the region.
Today's opening is significant for us as it solidifies our vision to strengthen relations with the Region 5 West Berbice District, and in this be the bank of choice in this community for our stockholders, our customers and employees, the keys to our growth and development. As earlier mentioned, our journey in the West Berbice commenced 16 years ago. And as our business grew, so too did our keenness to provide our customers and staff with an environment that parallels the standards of excellence we have set for ourselves.
Meanwhile, President Donald Ramotar, who was also present at the opening ceremony, said that not only will the new business operation benefit customers, but will also open new opportunities for entrepreneurs.
It is also important because here again we are bringing services to the people where only 2 decades ago everything of this nature had to be done in the city of Georgetown. And now more and more these are being made available throughout the different areas of our country. It also offers new possibility for the small and medium scale businesses that operate in the area. I know that I don't have to give bankers advice. This is their job in any case. But I just would hope that they will appreciate the peculiarities of their surrounding and help to facilitate and make it easier for young entrepreneurs, not only young, but entrepreneurs as a whole.
Royden James, reporting for the Evening News.
Join us after a break for your regional, international and Brit reports. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. In the region, Human Rights Watch said lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender, that's the LGBT people in Jamaica, face intolerable levels of violence and cannot rely on the police for protection. In a report, the rights groups also documented cases of LGBT Jamaicans being refused housing or employment. The New York-based organization said police investigations were often inadequate or lacking altogether. The Caribbean island has a reputation of intolerance towards LGBT people. Correspondents say many residents in the largely Christian community consider homosexuality to be sinful. Internationally, the World Health Organization says serum made from the blood of recovered Ebola patients could be available within weeks in Liberia, one of the countries worst hit by the virus. Speaking in Geneva, Dr. Marie-Paul Kenny said that the WHO was also working on advancing quickly to get drugs and a vaccine ready for January 2015. The Ebola outbreak has already killed more than 4,500 people. Most of the deaths have been in Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. In case you've just joined us, this is the Evening News. We now take a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed from 14 hours 30 on Wednesday, October 22 for a period of 1.5 hours, and the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed from 15 hours 35 on Wednesday, October 22 for a period of 1.5 hours. Join us after the break for sports, sponsored by MacWarp. This is the Evening News.
Are you looking for a very good used Caterpillar machine at the price you want to pay? Come to our Providence East Back Demerara Equipment Yard to inspect the machines for sale by tender from October 1st to 31st, 2014. See press or visit us on macworpcat.com for more info.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Bridge.
Welcome back. Now for a look at sport, but first the headlines. BCCI to file a lawsuit against the West Indies Cricket Board. MVP prizes unveiled for Guyana Softball Cup 4. Cycling Federation wants public apology from Team Cocos. And Oscar Pistorius handed 5-year jail sentence. Of course, this podcast comes to the kind compliments of MacWarp.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Bridge.
Are you looking for a very good used Caterpillar machine at the price you want to pay? Come to our Providence East Back Demerara Equipment Yard to inspect the machines for sale by tender from October 1st to 31st, 2014. See press or visit us on macworpcat.com for more info.
Welcome back. Now for the details. We start off with some cricket news. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, the BCCI, has announced that it would initiate legal proceedings against the West Indies Cricket Board, the WICB, as the fallout continues on Tuesday, following the sudden and dramatic pullout by the senior West Indies cricketers from their tour of the subcontinent. The BCCI also disclosed that all bilateral tours by India to the West Indies have been suspended, even as the WICB was meeting in an emergency session in Barbados on Tuesday to discuss the ramifications of the decision by the players. India was expected to play 5 series against the West Indies in the next 8 years, including 4 visits to the Caribbean. The BCCI release made no specific mention of any claim for damages, but reports suggest that the BCCI suffered a loss of up to $65 million as a result of the pullout. The West Indies players are disgruntled over a change in their collective bargaining agreement with the WICB, which they claim results in a drastic reduction in their earnings. Locally, the prizes for the most valuable players of the Open and Masters categories of the Guyana Softball Cup 4 were unveiled at a simple function today at Steve's Jewelry on Church Street. The details in this report.
Two beautifully crafted 14-karat gold bracelets accentuated with diamond studs have been put up as the prizes for the most valuable player of each category. President of the Guyana Floodlight Softball Cricket Association, the GFSCA, Ramchand Ragbir, received the pieces of jewellery during a simple function at the entity's Church Street location. Proprietor of the business, Steve Narain, explained the reason why he has aligned himself to the tournament since its inception in 2011.
It's to see the progress that has made over the years. Actually, I am on board for 4 straight years, but this is my third prize of giving out the 2 bracelets. The first one we did, the second, and the third one I thought that this floodlight has been growing from strength to strength, and it's exposed now. The Canadians are here. It's actually a worldwide thing now, so we decided to enhance the jewelry now by adding diamonds this year. And I'm sure as we progress and it gets bigger and bigger, we will continue to throw our support behind floodlights on the Softball Cup.
Ragbir said the GFSCA was once again elated to reward the most valuable players with the attractive bracelets worth a combined 400,000 Guyana dollars.
Mr. Steve Narain, he has been with us from day one, from Guyana Cup 1, 2, 3 and 4. And we must compliment, and without their support, this Guyana Cup would not be a success. And we have many success over the years, and we will continue to grow softball cricket to a higher level in this country.
Meanwhile, with the tournament set to run from October 31 to November 2, Vice President of the GFSCA, Ricky Narain, is urging all 24 teams that will be competing in the Open and Masters categories to exercise fair play as they hunt championship honours.
All the teams, play to your best, play hard, but play very fair. Don't forget your sportsmanship, and let the spirit of the game prevail.
The champion team in the Men's Open is guaranteed a whopping $800,000 first prize and a huge trophy, while a losing finalist will have to settle for $200,000 and the trophy. In the Masters division, the winning team will pocket $600,000, with the runners-up assured of $150,000. The man of the match in both finals will receive a trophy.
And the president of the Guyana Cycling Federation, Cheryl Thompson, has called on the management of Team Cocos to publicly apologize to the federation for its sudden withdrawal from the just concluded 8th annual Ride for Life 5-stage.
Delivering remarks at the conclusion of the 5-stage on Sunday, Thompson was adamant that race officials had acted within the rules of the race. Team Cocos withdrew after Stage 2 when Race Commissioner Malcolm Sunaram imposed a 30-second penalty when Ian Davis, the team's owner, breached one of the rules by not waiting for the stipulated 3-minute break to be established before they are allowed to feed their cyclists. Davis has denied the allegations, and Thompson is now seeking a public apology from the team for pulling out from the country's premier cycling event.
Because they were warned and they were told about the rules and what was expected of them. So, for me, and I'm sure that my colleagues from the Ministry of Sport, from the Ministry of Health, will support us as the governing body for cycling in Guyana to have the Cocos team writing and apologizing to the Guyana Cycling Federation for what they have done and for what they have reported in the press.
Thompson said the ultimate aim is to have the 5-stage on the calendar of the world governing body, the UCI, but pointed out that such actions as the one by Team Cocos will not help that cause.
We have to abide by the rules. So I'm looking forward for the Cocos team. If possible, we will be dropping them a correspondence asking and imploring on them to show some kind of respect for the Guyana Cycling Federation in acknowledging that we are the governing body of cycling in Guyana.
Team Cocos has had a strong presence in the local scene during the last 7 years, even recruiting several local riders who have donned the red, black and white uniform with distinction.
And finally, South African athlete Oscar Pistorius has begun serving time in jail for killing his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp. He was driven to Pretorius prison, where he is expected to be housed in the hospital wing. Judge Thokozile Masipa gave Pistorius a 5-year jail sentence for culpable homicide but cleared him of murder. His defense said it expected him to serve about 10 months with the remainder under house arrest. The parents of Reeva Steenkamp told the BBC they were happy with the sentence and relieved that the case was over. Prosecutors had called for a minimum 10-year term, and the defense had argued for community service and house arrest. Pistorius, 27, an amputee sprinter who became the first athlete to compete in the Olympic and Paralympic Games, killed Steenkamp on Valentine's Day last year. And with that, we've come to the end of sport, which is sponsored by Mark Warper. That's a wrap as well on the evening news for today, Tuesday, October 21, 2014. Of course, you can find these and many more stories in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times. And here's an invitation to join us in TVG Channel 28 and on Radio Guyana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in Georgetown Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and Unicary, Suriname. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.